Internet. I told you we ain't gonna stop. Can't stop, won't stop. What did I just knock over? Oh, toothbrush. This is when I'm scrubbing like the brass black and the polishing stuff off. It just happened to be sitting here and I knocked it over. Anyway, we just reviewed you, so maybe you can go over here. I wonder if this won't be too. I don't think that'll be too loud. It always sounds louder to me than it shows on video, so we'll just leave that there. We'll see how long that goes. So that wasn't a super hard pull, and it rubbed on the mat a little bit. But thanks again, Carver's Customs, for this sweet mat. I don't feel like I've mentioned it enough. I've kind of just taken it for granted, this nice little backdrop I've got going on here. But I just like this style. They got a lot of cool fabrics. You know what's up with Carver's Customs. And again, this is a large one, so they do like this traditional size hanks. This is like a quad size. It's really nice. Did I bring this in a little too soon? I didn't swap the buttons out. Let me just show you, Internet, how you're going to get this when you get it. We'll just set these right here. And for those of you that liked, I did not plan the way the buttons for the Pentagon rolled right in here, right into the middle. I think it was like 312 on that video. Go watch it if you haven't. After rewatching it, after someone mentioned it, I don't know, it is really satisfying. And I didn't notice it when recording it. I didn't notice it when uploading it. But I did notice it as soon as when someone called it out, then I started to appreciate it. So anyway, I'm gonna take those off because this is the XL Quasar from Fidget HQ. Now, if we look at the regular size Quasar, you can see it is actually quite a bit larger. If you just kind of set them maybe side by side at a distance, it doesn't look quite as much. But they really are, significant. That doesn't really do it for you. A pretty significant height difference here. My calipers are dead, and I don't have, well, will this... So this is right around 45 millimeters wide, a little over 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches. And this is like right on the 2-inch mark, 54, 55 millimeters wide. Sorry, bring that in here. So yeah, so it is big. Serial number 29. So it's got a nice big, wide, open, flat area with a true press fit style. And it is nice. So if you notice, the buttons fit pretty much perfect with the edge there. You got that really nice Fidget HQ finish going on the top there. Nice little swoops in here. Nice chamfers along the sides. Really big, wide chamfers too. They're very, I guess, acute angle, right? You can see it's pretty acute. What is that? Probably 30 degrees, maybe less, as opposed to something like this that is closer to 45 degrees, maybe. So it's a nice wide chamfer, and it's got the Proxima buttons on it with the spacers, so you can switch those buttons out. A lot of people like these. I don't dislike these buttons in the sense, like, I don't think there's really anything wrong with them, but so many people seem to like them. I think far and away the Kong, just the regular 19mm Kong buttons, are their best buttons. I do like the Kong XLs a little bit, but there's something about that. I shouldn't have stopped it. The little extra ridge that's going on here on the outside, I don't know, just for me, just takes away a little bit from the button. Although to have this same sort of dish that large, it would have to like really be a tall button, but I don't know, this is just like the perfect dish for me, like perfect grip. We're gonna take these buttons off though, because like the last excellent, really great, fantastic, wonderful, amazing bars tungsten spinner from Fidget HQ, this guy, right? These shoes just fit it perfect, right? Like, I got the buttons, and then the right spinner came along, right? You get the right shoes, and then eventually you'll get the right outfit, right, when you see those shoes. So we got these buttons, the Zero Feud superconductor buttons. They're just excellent-looking buttons as well. And same thing with these buttons as with these. After spinning them a lot, like the patina has, like, worn off and not come back. Where the same thing with these kind of got that yellowish, bluish, purplish, rainbowish kind of patina. And then I've been spinning these, and then the patina's gone away and has not come back. So I don't know what that is about the polished metals, but anyway, you can see that there. So let's put these buttons on, and then just once again, the shoes found the right spinner. So not quite as tight of a tolerance as we saw on the other ones, but look at how perfect it fits along the edge here. Like, look at that. Can you see that? You can probably hear my son, that's Oliver, in his room. rest time or nap time. Yeah, right. So let's weigh it, shall we? So this is a little bit lighter than, you know, something like this or something like this. Let's keep you out there. Right, so 138 compared to 160 versus 105, right? So it's kind of right where you would expect. I love the aesthetic of this, first of all. Let me tell you. The Quasar, the first Quasar, the 514, I think they called it. Happy anniversary, Lisa and Raja. Let's celebrate those two. There's something about the aesthetic on this. It's very similar, and I flamed this and then stonewash it again. That's why it's got sort of that, I call it the blue jean, the denim look. But this little extra bit going on up here, yeah, maybe that's fine stainless steel, but I think that's just adding stuff just to add it. These holes in the middle, you know, just you're adding stuff, I think, really just to add it. Where I don't know how much it actually adds. This is an idea of where less is more, right? Like, it's easier to add stuff than it is to take stuff away, in my opinion. And it's so easy to be like, oh, let me just add this extra feature to kind of make it look cool and bring this stuff to it. But when you start removing the stuff that's not necessary, that's where your design really starts coming to life, in my opinion. So let's just get rid of the stuff we don't need. This is something I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of... Oh, it's so good. Oh, man, this thing is so good. I got to be honest, it's still honeymoon period, but this may have eclipsed. This may have eclipsed this here. So you notice it's quite a bit thinner. It's about 30 grams lighter. It's quite a bit wider. Now it looks, you know, in just a silhouette, right? If you forget the chamfer and you just look at the silhouette and the shape, it does remind us a lot of the Zero Food Compass, which, by the way, I'm selling if you want. I'm selling it what I paid for it, which is retail, which is $275. If someone really wants it, let me know. We'll see if we can work something out. But it does remind me of this in terms of like some of the shape and the fidgetability. Now, obviously, it's got Zero Food buttons on it, but if we look at the size, right, it's very similar in size. It's very similar in weight. Not in weight, in like width. It's got a very similar style finger cutout. It's a little bit different, and there's definitely significant enough differences in the. Let me just put that back in there. In the design to not be like considered a clone or anything like that. So I don't want anybody to get up in arms like it's a clone. It's not. It's definitely, you know, it's sort of like the Byton and the Triton kind of situation, right? Where this is clearly a variation of this spinner here, which was out, and you would not call a clone of the Zero Food, right? So it's kind of what it is. But I just want to get that out there and say that it does actually remind me of spinning that quite a bit more than it does looking at it. So the looks, I think, are pretty different, but a spin profile, it does remind me and feel very similar. So let's talk about that. So there's some magic going on with this as well. So Fidget HQ just continues to do magic. I didn't really talk too much about the magic in this, but again, for its weight and how fidgetable it is. Have some more beer, Tim. It's pretty crazy that it can be this heavy and still be as fidgetable as it is. So I don't know what's going on with that in magic, but here it's got this weight and this density that you only get with tungsten, yet it's actually very thin. Like it feels thin. It feels like it cuts through the air. It's got an excellent, you know, it's a bar, so it's got all kinds of great character. I think that's another reason I like the HC2s, because the bearing's a little looser. You really can feel that character of the bar spinner. I really do enjoy that judder that you get with a bar spinner. And this one just has so much character. It's got that tungsten sound. Hear that? That dense metallic ringing. Right. Kind of like as it's cutting through the air. You don't really hear quite as much on that because it's a bar, or it's just a quad, so this bearing needs clean on this one. But yeah, I can't really say enough nice things about it. So what I've really appreciated with this one, like this one doing this style. Jesus, Tim. Has been really nice. Now I'm having trouble with it because I don't know why. But this has been like my pocket go-to spinner since I've had it. So I've had it about, I guess, only 4 days. Feels longer than that. Yeah, it's just, It pulls, it throws nice, really enjoy doing middle finger and ring finger spinning. What's actually interesting is these corners right here do feel like a bit of a hot spot over time when I'm really spinning on it, as do these kind of corners on the edge more than they did on something like this, and it's still not bad. I feel it more on this guy for whatever reason. I don't know if because of its lightweightness, right? It's only 136 grams. If I'm getting it at slightly higher speed and stopping it more with the bars, you know, you might have more mass in one place because of that. Let me crank on these buttons. These buttons are really interesting. They almost feel like they start to strip and then re-bite in again, and I've been wary. I'm like, I don't want to strip them because it's essentially copper in the middle, right? Of some sort, so. But I think we're good now. But I feel that a little bit with these, and I think it's probably just fair to say, and it's actually not enough, and it actually feels kind of nice in an odd way. I think Fabian mentioned it in his Cocoon review, like having hot spots for people that like hot spots, but there is a little bit of that on the end of the arms and a little bit on here on the inside edges. But these grooves work fantastic for like catching on and flicking off of. So there's a real satisfying fidgetability with that. And much like I mentioned it on my Beast review, getting into these corners you can kind of pull off of, and you're kind of pulling against the mass, right? Like out here, the lever, you know, Archimedes is in my favor when I'm out here pulling. But when I'm on the inside in here, I kind of have to pull against the mass to kind of get it going. And it actually is kind of nice to have that little resistance, have that spinner spinning back on you. I'm really enjoying spinning like this a lot these days too, where my pinky's kind of on the outside. I'm not doing like a preload where I'm like pushing with my pinky and then I move that out of the way and then flick it down. I'm just kind of flicking them together. So this is kind of stopping it and this one's catching it. I'm really enjoying that. These kind of spins, almost sort of somewhere between, it's not like a polish, it feels really smooth. You can't feel anything on there, but you can see little machining marks in there. It has quite a bit of grip, so you can kind of even just catch on the inside like this, and as you're pulling off, your finger actually has enough grip to kind of maintain some grip and spin there, so. But again, it's all about the preloaded flick for this one. If you like preloaded flicking, this is like just designed for you. You got this excellent chamfer coming down at an angle, a big wide chamfer, plenty of room to get your finger on. For me, the length is like perfect. It's a little longer, but I like bigger spinners. Especially in bars, I can't really say that either, because I really enjoy a mini bar. Mini bar. Yeah, I don't know, but its size is perfect. This finger like can balance right here too. And just catch it and throw so well. Might be my new favorite. Might be my new one. Let's bring in Old Faithful here. Yeah, this thing is so different but so good still every time. Every time you pick it up, you kind of go back. Like after spinning this for a while, after doing my review of the year, I was kind of like, I think I'm back to liking this one more. It ebbs and it flows. But like, look at this, triple threat. And they all happen to have copper buttons, despite, I think they're the only things that have copper buttons. Well, I mean, these are superconductor, but it has copper in it, right? Look at that. That's a deadly triple combo right there. That's a triple threat. All of them offering something very unique, very lightweight, super pocketable, really heavy bit of a beast and a beauty, and then just somewhere in between. Just, oh, it's so good. It really is. You keep hearing me say that, and you're like, damn, I've heard you say it's so good so much, but let's bring it back in and take a little bit of a look at it. Spin the buttons. You can see they're off-center just a little bit. Superconductor is really hard to center. You can see how that circle kind of wobbles off a little bit, especially on the outside. Like the very, very outside edge of the button, you can see is perfectly round. It stays in the same place pretty much. But the material on the inside kind of moves back and forth, but doesn't affect the spinner. Negatives, yeah, a little bit of a hot spotty on this one, and I think it might be just due to the longer arms. Getting a little bit more mass going is probably what it is. They are just as rounded on all the corners, and it's a very generous chamfer at a very low angle, but it still manages to have a bit of a corner, and with that weight, with that mass, with that length of arms, it does catch you a little bit. But it hasn't gotten to bother me, and I've been spinning it all day since I've had it, so. Yeah, this was my Super Bowl treat, my Super Bowl spinner. Go Eagles! How about that game? Who watched that game? Can we talk about that for a minute? No, it's not going to be a good Super Bowl or a good game if there isn't going to be some controversy in terms of, was that a catch? Was that a touchdown? I think both of them were. I can definitely see how that one where he kind of stepped out of bounds as he was sort of bobbling it. Hard to say. You know, he kind of was tucking it in there, and even though it wasn't like secure and not moving, it didn't look like he lost control, and it was called a touchdown on the field. So I think even if it was like the Patriots that did the exact same thing, I'd certainly want it to be overturned and would love to see it overturned because I hate the Patriots. Sorry, Raja, I know you love them. But I would still, I don't think I could hate on that like being considered a touchdown, especially since it was called that way on the field. That other one where he kind of, the guy laid down in front of him and he like kind of stepped in, and then the ball lost control, right? Like, he had perfect control of that ball. That ball was not moving anywhere. He had 2 full steps and then another one before he was tripped, and then he was going to the ground, and then he broke the plane, right? So once you break the plane, like as a runner, the way they called it, and that was right, that's a touchdown, right? If he hadn't secured the ball and dropped it, and didn't have it, in his possession, then sure, that wouldn't be a touchdown. But he was well in control and broke the plane, so at that point everything else shouldn't matter, right? Like, was he diving? Was he trying to go in? Like, the guy crossed him, but it was a combination of him sort of being tripped up and him diving and reaching in to break the plane. So that one was absolutely a touchdown. And then obviously the guy that forced that fumble on Brady, like, how beautiful was that? Like, you give Brady a friggin' 2.5 minutes to score a touchdown with 1 timeout and a 2-minute warning. Yeah, something's going to happen, right? Like, that's going to be hard to stop. They still would have had to make the 2-point conversion and get all the way down there, but just getting that turnover at the right time just really didn't allow them to get anything else happening. So that was beautiful. That was perfect. So, and can we talk about Chris Collinsworth as well for a second? Like, what a terrible announcer. Like, as an announcer, you need to be impartial, right? People are watching the game. They're going to be listening to you talk. They don't want to hear about you liking one team over the other. You've got to be impartial. And while I understand that the Patriots are a bit of a dynasty franchise and Brady is absolutely a tremendous athlete, like, there's no doubting that, despite how much I dislike the Patriots and dislike Brady. That's just me being a hater. Like, I can't deny the fact that the guy's got skill, right? Like, but just the way he was talking about him, it's like, get a room. It was just terrible. It was hard to listen to. It took away from the game. But then it was also fun for everybody that was watching the game over at my place to make fun of Chris Collinsworth. Like, come on, bro. So, anyway, go Eagles. We'll leave it at that. This has been the XL Quasar and Tungsten / Super Bowl 52 review. So, how about that Nick Foles, though, man, right? Like, talk about Nick, like, coming through. Like, Carson Wentz has an amazing... Anyway, sorry, we're going to go off. We don't want to do that. So, here it is. The XL Quasar. I don't know when they're going to come out with it again, but do not sleep on it. This is potentially a new #1 for me. And I think at the moment, right now, without question, it's got this guy beat, but we're waiting to see if the honeymoon wears off. And again, obviously, this guy has stood the test of time and is tremendous. So there you have it, Internet. I ain't got much else to say. Hope you enjoyed. If we're stuck around this long and you're still watching, that means you're probably a big fan and enjoy what I do. And I know I haven't been putting out as much as I've wanted to. And I keep saying it, life's been a little crazy. It's hard to say. I certainly have no delusions of like I will be getting back to the amount of content that I was putting out, but I also don't want to get to a point where it's like I'm certainly not like just completely done, but it may slow down even a little bit more here and there. So I've got a couple of things coming in that I want to review. Should we talk about this real quick? The air is going to be coming in soon, and I kind of want to do a tungsten or a titanium anodizing video with that. I'd still like to do a hydro buttons on everything, where I just sit down and put hydro buttons on all my spinners and spin them around for a minute. What do you think of that blue? It needs to be Windexed to bring the shine back out. Here, we'll do that real quick. Let me just watch what happens here when you Windex. See it on that one arm, that shine? Let's make sure it's dry. To see what that Windex does to bring out the shine, you can see like where it's dull right here and then where I rubbed on it a little bit. Whereas if we flip this one over, Windex just brings that shine right back out. I want to revisit this one. I don't think I want to just do it now at the end of this video, but this is worth kind of doing a updated review on. Maybe we'll give this guy a good clean and do that in a minute here. But yeah, all my little issues and faults with this guy, after using it for a little bit, completely go away. This is an amazing, amazing spinner. So for what it's worth. So yeah, we're gonna leave it at that. I keep rambling on and we're about to cross the 20-minute mark. So let's kisses at 20.